Okay guys, Melissa here. I have today off. I've been working on my pro-life, just feel like I got something on my teeth. Pro-life nonprofit that I am working on. So I've been calling some churches today to see what they do to help women. So I asked this one church what they do. And this really frustrates me when a church can't communicate. Because communication during the whole crisis pregnancy, the whole abortion, everything, the communication breaks down, right? And the communication is destroyed, relationships are destroyed, all with the communication. So, here I am, a seasoned mom, calling churches, and I will push churches. I will push hard. So I called one church and they're like, no, we don't do that. We don't help with that. We don't help with rent. What do you do? Do you do a gas card? No. Do you do grocery card? Nope. What do you do? Well, at this time we really can't help since COVID came around. And I'm like, you're a church, right? Yep. And you're pro-life, right? Yep. So what do you do for moms so they can keep their babies? Well, things are tight for us right now, Another church, what do you do? Oh, we can give one bag of food. I said, that doesn't really help. That doesn't really help. So this is, I'm a seasoned mom. Like I said, I've been around. I've talked to churches. I've talked to people, in the pro-life movement. And I cannot imagine a young girl, my younger version, or a young girl trying to call churches. It takes up enough nerve to have to ask someone for help, right? Now picture a young girl, and she's in her, picture her pregnant, and she doesn't know what to do, and she's panicking, and she's probably upset, and she's trying to figure out what to do. And then to have rejection after rejection after rejection from a church. Churches, if, there was a program when I went to a Chris Tomlin concert. I forget what it's called. I did a video on it. It's if one family in every single church took children in, we could eliminate the foster care. And I believe that. I believe if families would take kids in, at least even offer support for families, we could eliminate the foster care. So I reached out to a girl last night, young girl, getting to know, I really like her. And she told me, hey, I got a song for you. I go, what is it? And she goes, listen to this. There's no love like Christian hate. And I'm like, I don't think I've heard that song. So I listened to part of it, and I'm like, yeah, there's some truth in that. There's some truth in it. I mean, if we say we are Christians and we say we are going to lay down our life for one another, that's what Christ did for us. We're to love others as Christ loved us, right? How did Christ love us? He died for us, right? So we should be willing to help other people, give the shirt off our back, and why put these hindrances in people's ways? And we've heard people talk about, oh, the welfare mom, she gets all this money. I am definitely for helping moms. It's only a short time. Mothers need all the help they can get. There's only a very short time you can be a mom in your life. And we talk about people taking advantage of the system. I don't really think, what's the total you get a year? I don't really think it's taking advantage of the system. If you ask for help twice, is that taking advantage of the system? I think that if you can get out there and ask for help, it's actually very smart. It's very wise to go get the help. And I think the problem we see is women are not asking for enough help. We see women, rather than asking for help, they put their baby in the trash dumpster. Rather than like this woman recently in the news who left her baby to die, she went off on a vacation. Rather than asking someone to babysit her baby, she went off and let her baby die. I was thinking about that, and I'm like, why would she ask for help? Why would she leave her baby to die? She could have dropped that baby off somewhere. No questions asked. No questions asked. I think, though, the only thing I was thinking is I think there's a certain time limit that you can do that, like with your baby. I think it's up to like 6 months or something. I'm not sure. But we should be able to have places that take kids in, rather than letting that baby dehydrate, starve to death. She went on vacation. She could have asked for help. Do we have churches? I want to see churches change. Do we have churches where we can go in and say, look, I need help, I don't have a babysitter, or I'm losing my patience right now. Could you help me? Could you take this child from me right now? Do we have that? I feel like we don't. I just see so many kids being taken away from their parents. That doesn't even include, parents who need help who have disabled kids. What about disabled kids? I was talking to a mom who, had to do, on top of taking care of her 3 kids or so, she also had one who had, a disability, no fault of his own. How do we help moms with that? I don't think the churches are. I think the moms are being told to go to the state. Okay, even if your bills are covered, so what? What about gas? What about emotional support for women? What about, having babysitters that the other kids can go to? I had a son who was up at Dartmouth Hospital once. It was my 4th son. It was after the home birth. Nothing to do with the home birth. He was very healthy, great home birth. But he was laying on the couch, and I saw him turn a bit pale. And I was vacuuming, and I shut the vacuum off, and I grabbed him, and I'm like, are you okay? And I just picked him up. He was only about 3 months old. And I got him right over to the doctors. And so they did some tests up at Dartmouth Hospital, and I had my other kids with me too. Luckily Dartmouth Hospital had like a room with video games the kids could play and stuff. But I was traveling back and forth, that whole week with little ones to figure out what was going on with that son. And they didn't see anything. They did like a EGK, to check the brain waves. They didn't see anything. So here I am feeling like, it's all my imagination, right? I'm overreacting. So then we brought him back to Concord Hospital, and I had to run over and, I didn't have a lot of support at this point. I had to run over, go get breakfast for my kids in the morning. They were a bit older. They could stay by themselves. Go get them breakfast, go back to the hospital, check on my son, and I didn't really want to leave him, so it was kind of like Dad would watch the kids a little bit. And one morning I dozed off at the hospital in a chair while I was waiting to figure out what was going on. And they're like, we caught it. I'm like, you did? What was it? So they caught it, and they said it was acid reflux. They caught him on the, I think I woke up to hearing the beeping on the machine. And what had happened, I did wake up, heard that. The nurse came in at the same time. They caught it, and because of the acid reflux, he couldn't breathe. It stopped his breathing. He was like choking on his own, spit, but it was formula, So we caught that, but like I saved his life, and and luckily, I was there at the right time too. It all worked out. I had to watch him, a little, closely, as I already did. But, I can't imagine for moms who have long-term issues with their kids, they might need gas. When I was up at Dartmouth, there was a house we could stay at if we wanted. I don't think it was Ronald McDonald. It was some kind of place I could stay at if I wanted. But that's extra gas. That's extra money for your kids because you can't be there to cook. You have to get, either get takeout or pay a babysitter or something. So, again, when a church doesn't want to communicate and they're like, oh, things are just tight for us now, there's no communication. I have seen some churches say, what's going on, what's the story. When I've asked for help, they want to know. And you can say, well, this is what happened, and, this has been long term, or this is going on here. We don't have long term divorce care for women either, It's not a quick divorce. Divorce is a long, long drawn out thing. And even if you have a divorce, like in 3 months, there's still stuff to deal with. So, I think women should have all the help they need. They should be well cared for. They gave up their life to be a mom, and you really can't repay mothers. You really can't. Even a bad mother, you really can't repay her for the fact that she had you. I'm not talking about the damage done after, but the fact that she had you, right? So I think mothers need to be cared for, and when a church can't do it, it does sound hateful, and they're not even willing to try. When unbelievers will say, hey, whatever you need, let me know, right? So why put a stumbling block in the way of the gospel too? I was trying to share with this girl the gospel, and when you see things that are very anti-gospel, it just puts a stumbling block in the way for people to believe. So that's what I got for now, guys. I want to see churches change. I want to see them care about other people's needs, not just the needs of people who go to their church. And I'm not saying that a church is not busy with the needs of people, but the needs of other people too. You shouldn't